Okay, we're good. So, who wants to go first with their ideas for products?
So I will, even
Okay.
though I don't really have one. Well, I searched all over a bunch of different ones, and I went and looked in the agricultural industry again, and I found a PowerPoint that talked about problems and solutions in it, but all their sources were in Polish. So problem based upon this PowerPoint, but I have no resources to back it up.
Yeah.
So it's not ideal. Anyways, that was mine.
Is there like a certain product or anything from it?
No, they just said, well, a lot of it was uneducated practices, like farmers. Another one was lack of technology and equipment, but that's partially caused because there's not enough money to buy new equipment. And so there's lots of different problems centered around not having enough money. So, I mean, we could come up with something with a solution with the information we have, but I don't feel like we have enough evidence to back up our problem.
Okay, well, mine, let's see what I did. I just kind of tried to find problems really that Poland had. And then the hardest thing about it was, though, that like they're not really small level ones. Like one of them was coal. Like they need more coal, but the thing is, like, the government would buy that to run the power plants, not like people in general. But like the best thing I could figure out was like a more high efficiency, like tractor, different farming practice kind of equipment, because that's one of the other issues that they run into. So, I mean, something people would actually buy would be like tractors or some kind of farm equipment, because everything else I found was like would deal with the government buying it, and then they'd sell that to the consumers. So that's the best thing I could figure out.
Okay,
I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I'll
go
be
ahead.
honest. I did not research it because I did not have time at all. My bad.
That's okay. Most of us didn't have much luck, so you might have been in the same boat.
At work, they've restricted every website whatsoever, including Google.
Oh,
That would make it tricky.
And it's a sales job. So, like, customer will be like, hey, well, what'd this company do with this investment? I'm like, well, I'd like to Google it, but my supervisor's insane. So,
No worries.
yeah. Anyway.
Okay, what about you?
Stuff. That sounded good.
Who's got another one?
so I got one. It's not really anything fantastic, but I was looking at some of the imports and exports of Poland, some of the things that they mostly export. They export a lot of vegetables, fruit. One thing that they don't have a lot of that they import a lot from the European Union countries is wheat. Wheat and grain are two things that Poland doesn't really, I don't know if they can't grow it there, but it's something that they don't really have a lot of. Wheat and barley.
So their two main crops are grain and potatoes. So it's not that they don't have any; it's that they probably just don't have enough.
They don't produce enough internally, kind of thing.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, it might even be one of their higher exports too, as far as food. I don't remember.
It says like in the 90s, grain production dominated Polish agriculture. Man, Poland is just stable.
Okay, so my two things, one kind of went along with what we talked about yesterday, being that most of the country doesn't know English anymore. And so we could do an at-home language learning program, like whatever they're called. I don't remember the main names of the big companies, but that was one.
Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, Rosetta Stone. That was the main one that I just could not think of the name of. And then the other one is the website that I got talked about a lot about like rehabilitation centers not having like not doing well because the people who come to them don't have the stuff needed. And one of the main things was a lot of people are like deaf or like mostly deaf, and they're not able to hear. And so I looked it up, and there's only about 8 different products for hearing aids. And so being that it seemed like that was a problem in all the like rehabilitation centers and the like old folks homes and stuff, then I was thinking we could possibly do hearing aids. So those are my 2.
I think the English one's pretty good.
I
Because
think
that is something that I've seen pop up a couple times when I search.
I think both of those are pretty good.
Catherine wins.
Thank you.
I think the easiest one to find data on would be the English.
Probably, yeah.
But
The only thing I
easiest one
didn't figure out is I didn't like know what exactly we would import. If we would import the entire thing, if we would get different things from different companies to import it, like.
Well, here's my question. So you know how they do distance learning, and would having a virtual call center in America and having the tutors here tutor people in Poland, would that be considered importing?
Probably,
Probably
That would
not,
be
because it's a service.
All right, just checking.
Because it wouldn't be something, because one of the assignments says something about ports and like which routes you use and stuff on there.
Gotcha.
But it could be like the downloadable software or
service.
something.
But even then, like if it's a downloadable software, we're not using really any ports or any transportation hubs.
We need the disc.
Well, I mean like a disc.
Well, the hearing aid,
Oh.
I feel, is the easiest one to talk about importing. I feel like the English one is the easiest one to set up the business model, but I feel like the hearing aid is really easy to say to import because, hey, import it from whatever country makes them, you know? I think business model around hearing aids is going to be weird.
Hearing aid. It's gonna be sad if that's what we have to choose, but hey, it worked.
What's wrong with hearing aids?
I don't know. I just never
I
pictured a
resent
business
that.
of hearing aids.
Probably makes a lot of money.
Oh,
lot of
hearing
old
aids cost a
people.
ton. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably Poland doesn't have them because they're too expensive.
That's a big thing because, yeah, a lot of Poland isn't wealthy.
A lot of them probably are deaf. The
I
little
was
old Polish
gonna
lady.
do antidepressants because they don't really have antidepressants in Poland, but they don't have them because they don't believe mental illnesses are like a real thing.
Oh.
So not a lot of doctors will prescribe antidepressants and stuff like that. I was like, that's depressing.
I asked my roommate for ideas, and he goes, well, what is Poland like? Not being invaded by Germany. Build tanks. I was like, I don't think that's going to work.
You know, you laugh, but America's putting a lot of military in Poland right now.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
them doing military technology to sell to America would probably, I mean, like, to set up the military bases over there probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
So here's the next question with hearing aids. Who buys them? The individual or the government? Because
Individual
healthcare's
probably
free over there. But healthcare's free over there.
Oh my gosh, I hate this
And
society.
so that
We'll
kind
just
of falls
still do
into
the
the
individual.
healthcare.
I don't know, we could do a 2 business model thing, have wholesale to the government at a cheaper price per product, or a premium product that's sold to the wealthier Polish who can afford it.
Trying to see if. Let's see.
It was just stupid.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But how big's our market?
All of Poland are all deaf.
I mean, all the old people.
All rich
probably.
deaf people. I'm kind of leaning toward agriculture. I know.
Okay, we just need a
with-
product for it. Like we can do
Well-
that, but what's the product?
Hybrid tractors.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, so we've talked about how they import a lot of grain, and then all the resources that we have already. And so something along the grain industry, like that's either a grain drill. We can import a smaller combine to improve harvesting.
I say we do something weird and just say hybrid tractors.
That runs on coal.
Family steamer tractor.
Let's see. I don't know. It's like the worst assignment.
So the nice thing is we can import an existing made product. So something we could just find in any industry, a product that's already being made, just not in Poland, and just deal with importing it. Like John Deere, they're not in Poland. I think they're in Austria, which is right next door.
But doesn't it technically need to be our product since it's our company?
No, I remember either in the video or something he talked about how it doesn't necessarily have to be our product.
Wait, does it have? I think it might have to be something we did in the last paper. Because in 2.1 it says like you'll be describe and discuss in detail the finished goods that you'll be selling to your host country. You discuss them briefly in project 1 element E, but here the description should be in much more detail. So I think it actually has to be something we already did. We wrote in that last one.
I would feel yes, but at the same time, no, because if we found out that none of our products actually work for what's needed.
Well, he emailed us back about our the last one. I gotta try to find it.
That was just the presentation.
Oh, that's all he wrote about?
No, he gave us notes on the paper itself.
Oh, we did? I didn't see that.
So he didn't send an email out. You apparently got it on the class assignments page. But Jason sent it out. So I have it. So for the agriculture one, he said, well, this is an interesting product. The purpose is, for the trains one, the trains and trams won't work because it would be sold to government or businesses.
No, yeah, that's the old one. I'm talking about the one he sent today. So it's the from a presentation, his notes from the rubric. So what Brother Johnson wrote for that last part where we did the 3 products, it says he put good coverage of the product concepts. Some may be better than others to fit the project 2 objectives.
So let's go with the farming thing then, because that's the only
the farming thing because it fits in with what we've already done.
Let's go with the farming.
Because it sounds like we have to do something that was from the other one.
Farming.
Yeah, so let's just do farming because computers, like we talked about, was already kind of, it's a met need. And then, so I mean,
So is our product tractors? What are we selling?
yeah, what do you want to pick then? Like, does anybody know anything about farming? Top of their head?
Nope.
So when I was doing research, there's tons of tractor brands and dealers there. I think I found a list of like my original Element E paper. The list of competition was basically all tractors, and so there are tons of tractor dealers, but I couldn't find lots on equipment. And so go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if we're trying to focus on unmet need and we said wheat, they need to create more wheat, we could say our import is a genetically modified wheat strain that produces more yield per acre. Like a Monsanto seed or whatever. Monsanto.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Something that they might be able to afford.
Another thing we could do that would still provide information is like a fuel efficient tractor, since they have like, that's one of their biggest imports is a bunch of fossil fuels and things. A fuel efficiency tractor would like put less strain on the farmers and everything and lower their costs, like down the road kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's something you could just pick a tractor that's like super, fuel efficient, import it, choose that one as the product.
Yeah, tractors and fuel efficient don't go together.
No, they don't, but I found one's top 40 most fuel efficient tractors, and then there's some John Deere one, like you said.
I really think if they already have so many tractors, even if we try to do a fuel efficient one, it's not really going to help. Like, it's not meeting an unmet need. Like, yeah, great, it's fuel efficient, but just because we have fuel efficient cars here doesn't mean people are going to buy that over a diesel truck.
Amen to that.
True. It's just one of the problems they stayed with fossil fuels for the country. But other than that, I mean, like, what do we want to do? Because it has to be something from our last one we did.
I'd say the GMO crop.
I was going to say, we can still do the, like, stuff with agriculture. We can do a fertilizer. We can do all kinds of different things.
So Jason's onto something. I know they're producing now a lot of GMO crops that require less water but increase the yield, and that's something that may benefit them.
Also, they make it so your pesticides are cheaper because they're more resistant to pesticides. So you could say this will therein make the farms more fuel efficient because they have to use the tractors less often.
Yeah, I like that idea. Because we can cover a lot of different parts of it with that. So, I mean.
And the easy way to show the negative on this one would be to say they probably have regulation about bringing in seed overseas or something,
All right, I like that.
The only hard thing is like finding all the tariffs and random stuff.
Well, I feel like grains would be pretty easy to find. That's what most countries use to leverage imports. Like how we import rice from China, and they import rice from America for some reason.
That's true. When I was doing all my stuff for tariffs and whatnot, it was next to impossible to find anything on it that was in English. I mean, everything's in. You go to the Polish government website. And
Can you use Google Translate?
I might be able to. Never even thought of it.
Messed up translations here and there, but I don't know. I think we're going to bump into that problem with anything when it gets this specific.
Yeah. So is it the seeds like themselves? That's what we're importing?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're genetically modified seeds.
Because I think they have a similar climate.
Yeah,
to what
yeah,
we
they do. I mean,
do.
it's a little bit. It's more like the northern band of America than it is.
Yeah, and that would work great because I know they have stuff here in Idaho that we might be able to
Yeah, they have winter wheat.
import.
They have winter wheat that you can grow in the cold climate. So
Yeah, and I feel like, and if it's argued about unmet need or whatever, the fact that they import so much grain, it's like, okay, well, it's an underserved market because though they produce a lot of it, they don't produce enough domestically to like fulfill the needs for the country. So that's why they're having to import. So if they're able to produce better domestically, then that reduces the need for the other imports. Like it works for like the whole unmet, undeserved market. So I think that let's just go with that.
Plus, it can help with increased production
Yeah.
per
So
acre.
do we want to assign out parts now?
Is everyone on board?
Yeah, sounds good.
Catherine, are you still partial to your
Catherine?
hearing aids?
I don't care what we do as long as we can do it well.
Sounds good. So does anybody have like one they feel like they'd be really good at, a part they do, or like one they could know a lot about already?
no, I don't know anything
No,
about training.
just wondering. Let's see. Well, I'll just do, let's see, so there's total points.
So we had discussed yesterday that 2.1 and 3.1 will be put together, and then everything else would be by itself. And that splits it up, I think, correctly. 6, yeah. Oh, no, not quite. There's 6 of us.
So who's, Catherine, are you doing the editing thing or whatever again, or is it?
I personally would prefer to do editing so that then, because I don't know a lot about all this stuff. I mean, I can do the research if I have to, but I'd personally rather do editing this time, and then I can start writing next time. Because then I can just read over the paper, know more about what's going on, like that. But if anyone else is partial to doing editing, I don't mind doing extra research.
I'm good.
Okay, I have a question. So 2.1 and 3.1 are almost the same, but why is one specifies you will be selling and you will be importing?
So
Isn't that the exact same thing almost?
So it depends. If we are importing a final product, then yes, they would pretty much be the same. But if we were importing parts of the product and then assembling it there in Poland, say like we have to do that in order to not have to pay the tariffs and stuff, then we would just say exactly what we're importing. So 2.1 is the final product, and then 3.1 is whatever we're importing, whether it's the final product or not.
So 2.1 is the weed itself after it's grown, and then 3.1 is the seed.
No.
They're both seed then.
Yeah. So if we're just importing the seed, whether it's in like the bags or little packets or whatever, if we're importing it and selling it as it's imported, then it would be the same on both sections. If we're importing it and then changing it, then it would be different. So like say
and we're
our
not,
final
so they're the same.
product is packets of seeds by 20 seeds or 100 seeds or whatever, but we're
Probably about
importing them
thousands.
by thousands, then we would say we're importing bulk seed and then we are distributing them this way as the final product. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Then I'll do 2.1 and 3.1, and then I can also do like 2.2. Let's see if does that split it up so it leaves like the right amount for everybody else.
Should be 4 points for everyone.
Well, I can do those like it's 7. I don't really care on that, but they're like because 2 of them are almost the same. That leaves at least 4 more sections. So that adds up, right? Ken, Dimitri?
Yeah, that would be right.
Okay, yeah. So I'll do 2.1, 2.2, and 3.1. Do you guys
You'll
have
probably you'll import in tons, most likely, and then you'll sell them in 50-pound bags, most likely. Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm putting notes on the side, so I remember that. Yeah, and I'll just look up figures for like wheat itself and the importing and stuff. So
Okay, so you're gonna do 2.1 through 3.1.
yeah,
Okay. Then 3.2 is talking about the tariffs and the non-tariff barriers. Any volunteers?
I can do
Say it
whatever.
again.
So 3.2 is talking about the tariffs and the non-tariff barriers.
I can do that.
Okay.
You got that? Is there anything
Um,
else I can do? I'm fine with writing anything.
okay. So
I'll do 3.5.
3.5.
It's kind of like a summary of everyone else's.
Oh yeah. And then should we give 3.3 to Dimitri since he's usually pretty quick because 3.4 relies on 3.3?
Amen.
yeah, sure.
So Steven, are you okay with doing 3.4?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Jason, 3.4 also relies on yours. Are you going to be able to get it done
Yep, it does.
soon?
Tonight, no. Tomorrow night, yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't
And
have
that should
anything.
work.
Yeah, I don't have anything going on this Saturday, and so if y'all get it to me by like noon on Saturday, 1 p.m. Saturday, that's fine. I can spend the evening putting it all together. Even if it has to be pushed to like 4 p.m., I might push a little, but it'll be fine. So it's
Yeah,
not
I have.
Steven,
big
Yep.
rush.
if Jason gets you his by tomorrow night, can you do yours Friday night, or are you busy?
I'm good to do it Friday night or Saturday morning, but probably Friday night. I could get it
Okay,
done.
because I'll need to do mine Saturday morning to get it
And yours
done.
is based off both of ours.
It's a summary of all of section 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it done Friday night. Sounds good.
And then, Catherine, I'll have mine done Saturday by noon.
Okay, that sounds good.
Or if not, I'll be in touch with you, but
Yeah.
it should work out to be fine.
Like I said, once it starts getting to like 4 or 5 p.m., I might start stressing because it usually takes me like an hour and a half to like look everything over, make sure it flows, edit it. But it's not like a huge deal. So we'll just let Dimitri know that we need his by tomorrow night. Yeah, Thursday night. So that, or by Friday morning. So that Steven can have it to write his.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. I guess that wraps up this meeting then.
Stephen, so Zach, for yours, a lot of the resources, you can use a lot of the resources that I use for my product to
Okay.
help you kind of explain why. And then Stephen, you said that they import a lot of grain. If you could get him that resource or something, that
Okay.
way he can use all these things to justify in 2.2.
Yeah, just shoot me an email with kind of the sources or whatever, and I'll go off those.
Sounds
And
good.
if you end up needing help, Zach, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if that is it, then we are good to go.
Awesome.
And we're done.
All right. See you guys.